Hi everybody, thanks for stopping by to check out the latest from Sailing Emerald Steel. In this video we're going to be sharing with you a story from the boatyard about how we went about changing our Cutless bearing.
We found out there is right way and there is wrong way, and sometimes you have to do your own way. One thing for sure, don't do the wrong way.
But before we get started, we'd like to once again thank all of you that took the time to leave a comment and a thumb up on our last video. Really appreciate hearing from you guys, and thank you so much.
When the time came to go sailing up to Pacific Northwest, first we hauled out the boat here in San Diego to put a bottom paint on it. As I was checking everything if it's in the working order, I leaped on the shaft and I noticed that there was some play in the Cutless bearing. So in San Diego they charge $120 for lay days, so I figure if a job can be postponed till we get up to Pacific Northwest, where a haul out is quite a bit cheaper, especially for the lay day, it would be nice to save some money. Once we got to Pacific Northwest in Port Angeles, we hauled out and the time came to change the Cutless bearing. Now, it was very interesting. Then the boat hauled out right next to us. She was a 44-foot sailboat. There was a guy who came by us and he said, "Oh, what you guys gonna do?" I said, "Oh, we're gonna put we just painted her in San Diego, but we decided to change the Cutless bearing." He looked at us and said, "Good luck." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He says, "I just came out here a month ago to change the Cutless bearing, and I'm still here waiting for a part." And I asked him, "Can you tell me what's happened?" So he related the story to me. Then he asked a boatyard to change a Cutless bearing, but they wanted too much money for it, so he decided to do himself. Now, as you probably know, if not, to change a Cutless bearing, you have to pull the shaft out. Now, pull the shaft out, the only way you can do it is by disconnect the coupling from transmission, which is attached to your shaft. Now, if your boat is, like in our case, it was 30 years old, your coupling, which is made of steel and is attached to a stainless steel shaft, it's totally welded on. So it doesn't matter how you're going to be beating on it or priming it, it will not come out. So that's exactly what's happened to him. So he decided to heat up with a torch, try to break the connection. The only thing what he made a big problem is that he did not disconnect his hub from transmission. As a hub got really hot, he burned out his bearings and his seals. So now we had to wait for parts to come to repair his transmission before they could finish the boat and he could go back in the water. So having that thing in mind, I decided I better be a little bit smarter about it. So I disconnected the shaft and I tried to take the coupling off. It just did not go. It was really welded. I even put a spacer between the hub and transmission and then try to tie the 4 bolts, hoping it's going to push the shaft out at the hub, but it would not budge. So the next thing was we had 2 choices. The first choice was to cut the shaft, cut the hub out, pull the shaft out and then have a new shaft made, which would take too long of a time, too much money. So the way we went about it was our way. Luckily we have a common long on our boat. So by attaching a stronger piece of wood over our hedge and suspend the common long, we attach to the engine. We remove the 4 nuts from the engine mounts which hold the engine, your exhaust hose, your water cooling hose, and also your electrical cables and gear cables. They all have a play, so there will be no problem with them. So by ratcheting our common longs, we was able to lift the engine up about, like I say, 6-7 inches. Just enough for a shaft to be able to go underneath it. And this way he was able to pull the shaft out. But first, before we done that, we had to remove a propeller. Luckily, again, I have a propeller remover, which I made it many years ago, because a lot of times even boatyards don't have it, and it's not that easy to get, especially if you are not in some big city. And what is actually a propeller remover. I purchased 2 half-inch aluminum discs. You cut a U-shape. So believe it or not, for such a thing they wanted maybe $370. And a lot of boatyards actually don't have it even if you want to borrow it. So it's a very nice item. And the way it works is think of it, if that's shaft, you put a shaft here, end of a shaft comes inside to this little hole like that, and the propeller is right between it. So as you're tightening the knots, this part here pushing on the propeller and bring her out. So anyway, by removing the propeller, I was able to pull the shaft inward and then go outside and start removing Cutless bearing. Now, right way or a most common way, what you do, you go from inside and you pound the Cutless bearing from inside outward. Now we couldn't do that because I couldn't pull the shaft all the way out, just enough to clear the Cutless bearing, so I couldn't get down to pounding the Cutless bearing out. So next thing was I had to take a Sawzall, and I made 2 cuts in the Cutless bearing, as here in the picture show it to you, how I cut the Cutless bearing in 2 places opposite of each others, and then with a screwdriver and a sledgehammer I collapsed the Cutless bearing. And then I took a channel locks and I pulled the Cutless bearing out. That part was done. To put a new Cutless bearing in, it just took a matter of a few minutes. Put 2 set screws to hold the Cutless bearing in place. Push a shaft back in, install a propeller, put the engine down. Now once you move the engine, you want to make sure that you will try to make sure that your engine is aligned properly. And to align properly engine, what you have to do is this here. When you do it very first time, you have to actually badly move engine to port or starboard so it's aligned with the shaft. But because the engine was already installed before, you don't have to do that. You just got to make sure that it's aligned, because alignment is very, very important, because that depends on the vibration of your engine and also how long your Cutless bearing is going to last.
Ours lasted a long time.
Yeah,
and didn't we use a fiberglass Cutless bearing this time instead of bronze?
We had the original bronze, but because of that problem cutting it, we decided to put a fiberglass one. Now, to align the engine, what you have to do, you bring the hub of your shaft back towards the transmission and you put together, tight it, so you still have enough opening to put a small filler gauge. And then you check all 4 bolts, and naturally, if you see it in the, say for example, bottom one has a bigger gap than the top, then what you have to do, you have to lift the stern of the engine a little bit up. If the top is higher, it's a bigger opening, then you lift the front of the engine high, and you lift it by screwing or unscrewing the nuts underneath the engine mounts. And once that is accomplished to your satisfactory, you have to always turn the shaft quarter way and recheck it all again. That part is it takes some time.
Time consuming.
Yeah, it takes about took us about 2 hours to make a perfect alignment. So tolerance of alignment engine is very, very precise, and you take a 0.001 of inch times diameter of your coupling. So in our case, it's a coupling, it's 4 inch, so the maximum tolerance can be 0.004, and that is acceptable. If you can do closer, it's fine, but that is the maximum which is permitted. Otherwise, you will suffer because you can make your bearings wear out in transmission, and also vibration of the boat.
And also your Cutless bearing will wear out faster.
Yeah. When you take it for a test drive, you should watch a shaft, make sure it doesn't whipping from side to side on a different, when you try testing at different RPMs. The shaft should be moving about same vibration as your engine. Naturally your engine vibrates because it's a flexible engine mount, and naturally your shaft will be vibrating. So as long as the shaft is only vibrating as much as the engine, it's acceptable, but it should not be whipping.
The job took us 8 hours, and we were able to launch our boat the following day. And the neighbor was a little bit jealous that we were going in the water so soon, and he was going to be stuck in the boatyard, but he was happy for us. Okay guys, so I guess that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video and got something out of it. And if you did, please don't forget to leave a comment and a thumb up. Really appreciate it. And before we leave, we once again like to thank all of you that support our channel through Patreon and PayPal. We really appreciate your support, guys. Thank you so much. And we will see you all next time.
Bye-bye.